change the audio settings so you guys can hear me when I move my mouth around here. Thank you for joining us here. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here. And welcome to YouTube, where we're going to be answering as many Royal Caribbean cruise questions as possible, starting with the most important question: how many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Type your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. I have 13 more days until my next Royal Caribbean cruise on Anthem of the Seas to Norway, my first European cruise. I'll be posting about that tomorrow on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, but really excited for it. Cannot wait. And but again, looking forward to seeing each and every one of your countdowns, as well as we hang out over here and talk about the most important thing in the whole wide world, which of course is a Royal Caribbean cruise. So if I can answer your cruise question, please feel free to type your question in chat, and I'll answer as many questions as I can. We had a number of amazing super chats before the broadcast began, so thank you all for your generosity. Desiree Hall, thank you for the super chat. KL Crosby, thank you for the super chat. KL wrote, just watched a couple of videos on how bad royal food has become: cold, tasteless, less choices, and smaller portions. What is Royal Caribbean doing to fix the issues? Makes me concerned for upcoming cruises. KL Crosby, thank you for the super chat. So number one, you should absolutely positively ignore online reviews of food. Food is extremely subjective. I've talked about this before, but whether we're talking, it doesn't matter if we're talking about cruise food or land food. It's just such a subjective topic. I have to bring up the example of broccoli. Just forget everything else. Just let's make broccoli the subject here, right? And if I ask in the chat, and people love broccoli and people hate broccoli, there's a bunch of people in the chat who like it and a bunch of people who hate broccoli. All that proves is just that we all have personal tastes that are out there. Now, listen, I've cruised with the Royal Caribbean 68 cruises. I think I did the counting of that last week. And I've had food that has not wowed me, and I have food that has wowed me. And my best advice to you is to ignore other people's opinions on food and make your own opinions on it. I think more than likely, you're going to find a healthy swath. Most of the food you're going to eat on your cruise is probably going to be pretty good. Some of it will be excellent, and some of it may not be so great. But that's okay. That's the nice thing about cruising, because if you find something you don't like, you can move on to something you really do like. There's plenty of it. And remember, if you're in the main dining room, Windjammer, especially restaurants, if you're not pleased with the food, you can ask for a replacement, and they're happy to do that for you. So don't take it to heart. Certainly don't base your cruise decisions on any one review that you see there. There's people who hate everything in life: Star Wars, chocolate, Alf, and babies. It doesn't mean that those are all necessarily bad things. Just keep that in mind. Edvira Ed, thank you for the super chat. 39 days slow ovation. Do Alaska ports have Uber or Lyft? Yes. There's not a whole lot of them, but I do remember that in I think it was Sitka, one of our writers used or wanted to use Lyft or Uber. But you may have limited experience there. I wouldn't rely on. There are taxis, though. That does exist. In Juneau, as an example, there's taxi services around. Austin Rodriguez, thank you for the super chat. Sailing on a Wonder in early January, heading to the Eastern Caribbean. What should we expect weather to be like? Also, any thoughts on Mason Jar? And can you do brunch with the dining package? You can do the brunch with the dining package, and I love Mason Jar. Piggybacking on what I just said, just because I like it doesn't mean you love it, but I think it's a really cool idea, something different, not just the usual stuff. So I applaud Royal Caribbean for that. In terms of January in the Eastern Caribbean, number one, it will not be rainy. January is the dry season, so good news, it will not be very rainy. Humidity should also be fairly low compared to the rest of the year, so that's a really nice benefit of it. It's still the tropics. It's still going to be warm. It will not be sweltering hot necessarily, but plenty warm to get in the water. Remember, in the Caribbean, the temperature really doesn't sway all that much throughout the year. It's pretty consistent, unlike further north. So I think you're gonna have a really nice time over there. Ian Hunter, thank you for the super chat. Looking to book a cruise in November of 2024 and hoping for Utopia, as that is spring 24 for sailing. Any idea when itineraries will be released? I really don't know. It's a great question. Royal Caribbean is really quiet on that front as to when Utopia of the Seas, which is the next new Oasis class cruise ship, will go on sale or be based out of or offer whatever. They've been extremely quiet on that front. So it's just a waiting game, Ian. My guess is sometime this summer, but I really don't have anything to base on that off of. Point Narf, thank you for the super chat. And Whipple, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Matt. Since we're going to go to be in a grand suite on Brilliance of the Seas, do we get free drinks in the Suite Lounge in addition to our vouchers being Diamond Plus? Yes, you do, in fact. Dan, good to see you here. Thank you for your generosity. Doug Todd, thank you for the super chat. 6 days till Wonder of the Seas. Just want to say thank you for all your advice. We look forward to Mondays with Matt each week. Last question, do we leave a tip for the bartenders or is it included on the tab? It's included in the tab. Whether you have a drink package or you're paying for drinks individually, there is no expectation of a gratuity because it's already baked in. It's automatic. The one exception is if you're using diamond drinks. I do recommend tipping on that because there is no gratuity as part of that. We have another oh my goodness, you guys are amazing. Chris Case Bear. Chris, thank you for the super chat earlier. And we've now reached the point in which I can actually show you the super chats from earlier. Starting with Robert. Thank you for the super chat. 18 days till ovation for my parents' 50th anniversary. My dad wants to do the little iFly. Do you have any tips on how to reserve or the best time to do it? If you can book it before the cruise, definitely book before. Otherwise, go on day one right over there and book it immediately. Like first thing you do. Reservations go extremely quickly for that. Let's see here. Man, there's so many great countdowns. I love this. So many people got cruises coming up. Fantastic. Pete Appleyard, hello. David Crawley, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Matt. Wanted to confirm we can lock in our boarding time on the app without having to fill out the rest of the information, correct? Yes, in fact, you can. You can only do it in the app. On the website, you can't do that. But in the app, you absolutely can do that. I do that every single time, which reminds me I need to do my check-in for my cruise. I've done the time, but nothing else. So I got to do that right there. James wants to know. Thank you for the super chat, James. Oh, James says, hello from Vision of the Seas. Hope you're having a great time on Vision. What packages are there? All the packages you can purchase are available on the Cruise Planner website. After you book your cruise, go to Royal Caribbean's website, and you can find the information over there. Katie Pierce wants to know, can you still order more than one dish in the main dining room with the new menus? Yes, absolutely. They'll only serve you the dishes, the entrees, one at a time, but you can absolutely order more than one. The only limitation to that, Katie, is lobster. On lobster night, if your cruise is 6 nights or longer, in which you have a second formal night, and you'll have a lobster night on Royal night. And for that's one lobster is complimentary. Any additional cost extra, but all the other entrees on all the other nights and including that night are unlimited there. So you can get as many as you want. Let's see here. Mike Wolf. Mike, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. Wolf's in the house. 14 days till Quantum of the Seas. Nice. Hope you have a great time on the Quantum. Let's see here. Dawn Betty. Thank you, Dawn, for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Dawn, but thank you very much for your generosity. I'll keep an eye out for that. Heather, thank you for the super chat. Heather says, my son is really looking forward to the escape room. Is that something we can book prior to the cruise, or do we need to do it first thing on embarkation day? You should be able to book before the cruise, Heather. In the cruise planner, you're going 91 days, so it should be available. But I believe it's under, when you go in the cruise planner, it's under maybe entertainment or activities. I forget, they change the name of those tabs now quite often, but you should be able to book it before the cruise. So why is it always broccoli? Because broccoli is such a polarizing topic. Like if I think burgers, there's far less people that have that enjoy burgers, but broccoli is such a polarizing, because people either love broccoli or absolutely hate broccoli. And it's a great example of why food reviews, food opinions are completely subjective and utterly meaningless to other people, beyond other things I don't have time to go into. But I think it's a really good example of that, quite frankly. Randy's going on Oasis of the Seas in 13 days. Can you book your shows before the cruise, or do you do it on board? You can book it before the cruise, Randy, because you're going on an Oasis class ship. You can also do it for Quantum class ships, but other classes of ships don't need to do that, nor can you. Larissa wants to know, if we go to the main dining room and do not like the options, can we go back to the buffet? Of course you can. Absolutely, Larissa. You can go to both. Heck, you can love the main dining room and still go to the buffet. They don't check you at the entrance, like, oh, no, excuse me, Larissa, you've already been to the main dining room. They don't care. You can go to either one, no problem, on the same night. They don't mind at all. Jeff Burns says, nobody hates Alf. There are people that hate Alf. I know it's crazy talk, but people absolutely do that. Vincent wants to know, best place to get travel insurance. I recommend insuremytrip.com. I don't have any affiliation with them at all, but it's a really good comparison website to be able to figure out which ones are what options you have there. Let's see here. Shannon Steen's got a question. They are wondering if two teens can eat, especially dinner, without an adult. I don't know. I've certainly had that, Shannon, where I've been like at one table, my kids were at another table because they want to do the kids table thing, but that's not the same thing. I bet you the rules say no, but I don't know that I don't know the answer other than I would at least try. At the very least, Shannon, maybe you could walk in with them, be like, here they're here, they're going to be behaved. Just I'm checking them in, but I'm going to wherever. Shots at the casino bar with Josh Carruthers, hypothetically, just saying. Maybe leave that detail out, but I would at least try it. I don't know why they would say no. But maybe there is a rule against. I've never tried it, so I can't give you a definitive answer, which is a really lame. I hate when I can't give you the definitive answer, but I don't know that. Kempo Kid on Mariner May 4th, departing from Terminal 1, returning to Terminal 5. Can you park at Terminal 5 and shuttle to Terminal 1? Suggestions. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Here's the thing. I'm not sure where you're getting the information from. If you're getting it from the Port Canaveral website, it may not be totally accurate. But Kempo Kid, if you are indeed docking at one terminal and coming back to a different one, no big deal. They will have shuttles there. I did this in Fort Lauderdale where that happened. We were at Terminal 19 and then came back to a different one. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point, or Terminal 18, no, 19, then we came back to 18. Anyway, they'll have shuttles. They'll take care of you if you park at their thing there. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So, Julie, what is your favorite roller coaster cruise ship and why? Wonder of the Seas, because it just has everything. It's latest and greatest, brand new. It's hard to go wrong with that. I like other ships for other reasons, but I think Wonder of the Seas for sure. Jessica Beth, thank you for the super chat. Jessica, I found your message there. Jessica says, Marshall the bartender at the pub was amazing. Nice. Silveris 1, welcome. Thank you for the super chat. What is a good Seattle hotel and how is the parking? Oh man, I know that in our I don't know if Becky Menken from our from MEI Travels in our chat or some of our other friends from the Pacific Northwest. We just had this question the other day and they gave me the answer and I forgot what the answer was. What I do, and maybe here's what. Number one, if you're in the chat and you have a good recommendation for a Seattle hotel, type it in the chat. But what I usually do, if I'm in a city like you're going there, you want a nice hotel, you want it clean, safe, reasonably appointed. I just do Priceline Express deals. I go to Priceline.com, put in Express deals, put 4 stars or higher. That usually works pretty well for me. Myra wants to know, is it safe to go to Haiti? Yes. Remember, even though Labadee is in Haiti, and there is a U.S. State Department warning against going to Haiti, Labadee is not really in Haiti. It is, but it's not. Physically, yes, but it is in a remote area of the country that is literally walled off. There is a physical wall with barbed wire that separates Labadee from the mainland. It's on a peninsula. So I think it's about as safe as it possibly can be if I do say so myself. Again, I'm not a security expert. I can't promise you anything, but I certainly don't think twice about it. And the troubles that Haiti has been facing are not new. This has been the case for decades. And I hate to say it's centuries, that poor country, the poor people that live there. But this is not a new thing. It's not like it was a stable country a year ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. It's just they go through bad and really bad. And right now they're in really bad. But again, Labadee is in a very remote area. Jose, thank you for the super chat. 7 days Serenade of the Seas. It is dragging. Dude, the last week before, and listen, I've got a week before I fly out. It's like the slowest time of your life, dude. Like it's like, how is it still Monday? Right? Yeah. Slew Dog wants to know, we have a 3-night dining package. Is there a way we can see the main dining room menu so we know how to schedule our dining meals? When you get to about 2 or 3 days before your cruise, Slew Dog, the Royal Caribbean app will show the menus for you. Gregory Keene. Gregory, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a question from you, but thank you for your generosity, my friend. I appreciate you. Adam, thank you for the super chat. I have a cruise in 19 days on Voyager this season. I will have 2 no-shows. When should I tell Royal Caribbean about them, and where exactly do I tell them this? You don't tell them in advance. I mean, if you're just content with just simply showing up without them, you do not need to do anything in advance. When you get to the cruise terminal, they'll probably ask you, okay, Adam, where is Bob and Cindy? And you'll say, they ain't coming. And that's it. That's the end of the conversation. They don't care. You'll be refunded port fees and taxes, but that's it. But you don't need to do anything in advance right there. Next question is from New and Old Funko Pop Unboxings. Thank you for the super chat. Is there a way to search Royal Caribbean Cruises by suite price? No, unfortunately not. It's a great idea, dude. Or dudette. It is unfortunately not. The best you can do, and you already know this, you can go and see, okay, well, there's suite prices begin at, but you want to know, like, what's the cheapest grand suite or owner suite or something like that. Unfortunately, that feature does not exist. One way to do it is to work with a good travel agent and, let them know, hey, I'm looking for these dates on these ships. They can more easily in their system search through it. And that's part of the services they provide. So that'd be my next recommendation for you to be able to check that out. Michael O'Brien, thank you for the super chat. 111 days till Oasis Junior balcony. My wife and I, no kids. That's awesome. Excited is an understatement. Thank you so much for your videos. They're full of great tips and info. Really helped our cruise planning. Awesome. Enjoy your kid-free cruise. It is a revelation. I love my children. I love cruising with my kids. But when my wife and I get to cruise without them, it is like, so much better. David Brewster, thank you for the super chat. We were on Harmony in May. Was on Harmony in May? We're going. I don't know. 100. Oh, right. Okay. Anyway. 123 days till Independence, 11 to Spectrum, 314 to Oasis. No question, just bragging to Madeline and I. Love your content, man. David, thank you so much for your generosity. You've got some awesome cruises coming up there, and I am jealous. I've not been on Spectrum of the Seas yet. Gregory, are there any issues getting into CoCo Cay? Not per se. I know that ship was not able to get over there in the weekend, but that could be that's weather related. I mean, that's just bad luck. But there's no inherent issues. So if that makes sense. Allison's going to Curacao for the first time. What to do? Mambo Beach, and also go downtown, do some shopping, and then take a cab to Mambo Beach. Mambo. Oh, Don, here's your message from earlier. 19 days till Mariner, Diamond in the Rough. Do you know if the Mariner suites get a specially breakfast at Chops? They do, because when I was on there 2 weeks ago, I walked by and I was like, man, it must be nice to go in there. And I'm going to I gotta go find my own table. So yes, they do. Seagar, is overbooking a new thing to get used to? No, it's still very much a outlier, a unlikely scenario to occur. I think, quite frankly, it gets highlighted more because of the internet, in the sense that, when it happens, people post about it and it spreads a little bit more. But I really, truly do not think it is to a point where it is a new normal or a realistic scenario that you are likely to encounter. I don't think it's near there. I think we're talking about a very, very, very small percentage of ships. Does it happen? Yeah. Is it annoying? Sure. But in all the cases, by the way, in every single case, no one has been booted off a ship involuntarily. They ask for volunteers, and more than enough always come forward to do so. So that's the good news. Hey, Megan Hayes is here from MEI Travel. Hello, Megan. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us here. Let's see here. Lance got roped into a chocolate tour. That sounds like the beginning of a lyrics to a 90s alternative band song. Anyway, do you have a recommendation for Ruatan? Little French Key. Our next question is from Yeepstab. Thank you for the super chat. Any hacks for carrying around bottles of water or soda that you bring on embarkation day? Yeah. Have kids, raise them so they can carry it for you. Is that not an option? No. I mean, the only thing you could do, I'm sure someone in the chat is already saying you should buy the key, because one of the benefits of the key is you can drop off your carry-on stuff on embarkation day. I would argue it's not worth it, because you're paying for 2 hours, 3 hours convenience but you're paying for the duration of the cruise. There really isn't. Some people, Royal Caribbean says not to do this, but some people do. When they go to the porters, they'll put a luggage tag on the case of water and tip the guy and be like, hey, can you make sure it gets here? I can't tell you or promise you that works, but I certainly wouldn't do that. I just, my best advice to you is find a place like on the pool deck, plop it down, somebody sits with it, other people get drinks for that person who is sitting with it. It's only a couple hours, Lance, thank you, my dude. Thank you for the epic super chat. Oh, appreciate that. That is awesome. Let me see here. Ron Ladowski. Ron, thank you for the super chat. No question. Just wanted to say thank you for setting up the Royal Caribbean Blog Panama Canal group cruise. What's a group cruise? It's a Royal Caribbean Blog cruise in which we invite you to come sail with us. Yeah, we've got actually a group cruise coming up next month. Wow, it's cool to say that because it's May now. We have a group cruise next month and on Navigator to the Seas featuring Shannon and other people as well. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so we've got a couple of them. If you want more information about our group cruises royalcaribbeanblog.com/events. Katisha wants to know, what do I have to look forward to on Wonder of the Seas? Amazing entertainment, tons of dining options, and lots to do on board the ship. I say this in a positive way. There is an overwhelming amount of things to do on a ship like Wonder of the Seas. So you don't have to do them all, by the way. I mean, you can just sit there and take naps and hang out by the pool. But I'm just pointing out, you have a ton of choices. That's what you're really paying for. The latest and greatest that Royal Caribbean has to offer right there. David, I'm in Florida. But obviously we film a lot of the stuff over, on cruise ships primarily. Angie, one of our writers here at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, social media manager and sweat stash connoisseur. I don't know. And know of any good restaurants in Aruba near the port? I don't. No. When I was in Aruba, we always just go to Palm Beach or Eagle Beach. I don't really hang out by the port all that much. It's just a in and out kind of situation. Mark, great question. Does the insurance that Royal Caribbean offer cover all necessities? No. What I mean by that is, and this is true of all insurance policies, Mark, travel insurance is not a one insurance policy covers all. There are many different types of travel insurance with different policies. It's more like auto insurance, right? Auto insurance, you can get cut rate, you can get amazing, you can get mid-grade, you can get this. Like travel insurance is very similar. It's more similar to car insurance than it is to flood insurance, which is pretty much you either have it or you don't. Travel insurance is not like that. There are different levels, different coverages. So you should not, this is actually a mistake, Mark, just assume, Royal Caribbean or any other one, I need to buy it from company X and it's going to cover me. You need to read the policy and be clear on what it covers, what it doesn't cover, and most importantly, when it actually kicks in. Let's see here. I think Cole with the most important question of the night. How do you feel about the WWE draft thus far? I know it's happening, but I haven't paid any attention. The product unfortunately has been subpar for the last couple of years. So I just I pop in here and there to check it out, but I don't watch it quite as frequently as I used to. Juju wants to know, are we going on Icon of the Seas? Heck yeah, absolutely. I'll be on the inaugural sailing for sure. And we have a Royal Caribbean blog group cruise on Icon of the Seas as well in 2024. Modern myth, super important question. When do you think they'll bring back the belly flop competition and will you participate in it? Oh, it's back already. It's been back for a while, so wish granted, but I am getting the dad bod, but I'm not up to that level and I don't need that kind of attention, quite frankly. Brian Richards, thank you for the super chat. Hey Matt, do you know if Royal Caribbean plans to do full upgrades to the older and smaller ships? No, they don't have any announced plans for that. So as of right now, I wouldn't expect it. Part of that reason, Brian, is because Royal Caribbean is dealing with a mountain of debt that they got to work through. So they're trying to limit their spending where they can. Gregory Keene, thank you for the super chat. Are there still any issues getting CoCo Cay? Again, as I mentioned earlier, other than a ship, occasionally a ship can't get in because of weather. Usually the winds are such that the waves are too high and they cannot safely dock. This is true of any port in the world, quite frankly, not just CoCo Cay, but it occasionally happens. Otherwise, no, not so much. What about bringing sodas on board Vision of the Seas out of Baltimore in October? You can bring up to 12 cans or bottles of soda on embarkation day per stateroom. Sailor Cruiser wants to know, hi Matt, can I request lobster on Oasis Dining? Is it free? You can request, you can't request it. It's available on a 7-night cruise or 6 nights, 6 nights or longer cruise on the second formal night in the main dining room. So there you go. That's the only time it's available. Brett Brown, what's up, Brett? Thank you for the super chat. Megan Hayes is problem solver extraordinaire. Thanks for helping me solve my issues this week. All I can say is thanks so much in the forum. She is my TA. Megan Hayes is amazing. She has friends who have great taste in music. I mean, I think she can tolerate Dave Matthews Band, but she's she at least knows who to hang out with. So, and Megan is really awesome. So glad to hear they were able to help you out there. Let's see here. Any recommendations what to do in Grand Bahama Island? No, the place is kind of a pit. I hate to say it. When I went there the one time, I've actually been there more than once, but we went there, we got a day pass to the resort that Royal Caribbean almost bought, but they're not going to, the Grand Lucayan. You can book it. It's not the Royal Caribbean. Just call them up and you can get one pretty cheap. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst use of your money, but the rest of it, unfortunately, is just not great, which is too bad because I feel bad for the people there and I want people to spend money there and all that, but yeah. Vicky wants to know, do you get onboard food credit when purchasing a dining package at Ben & Jerry's? No, the dining package does not work at Ben and Jerry's? Good question. William Ryman, thank you for the super chat, my friend. 27 days till Wonder of the Seas. Are specialty restaurants open on Embarkation Day? Yes. My advice to you, William, is check out a past cruise compass from Wonder of the Seas, and you will see exactly which ones, because depending on the ship, certain specialty restaurants are or are not open for Embarkation Day. So that's my advice to you is go look at the cruise compass for a past sailing, and that way you know which ones will be. So, and you are very welcome for the kind words, my friend. Yeah, Carmen, I haven't seen roller skating in the Seaplex. She wants to know if they've discontinued it. I haven't seen it. I certainly have not seen it since the pandemic, but I don't know that it is totally dead. It's a great question. I'm not exactly sure, but I haven't seen, I can't recall seeing it when I've been on Odyssey of the Seas a number of times. I'm going on Anthem in less than 2 weeks, so I'll try to check there for it, but yeah. Danny says, love all your content. Chef's Table starts at 6:30, but Adventure Ocean opens at 7. Anything for coordinating the time gap? Ooh, what would I do? So one idea that comes to my mind is you'd have to excuse yourself and go drop off your kid. I mean, the first half an hour, like, it's mostly schmoozing anyway. You're not missing out on a whole lot. I certainly would at least talk to the staff and be like, hey, listen, I got my kid here, not here to eat. Don't worry. I just got to wait 30 minutes. I got to bring him upstairs. I'm sure they'll work with you on that. I have a hard time believing they won't. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, because I don't think your 7-year-old, maybe you feel differently, but I would not leave my 7-year-old in the cabin by themselves and then come get them later on, like when you step out. I think your best bet is to bring them, have them sit on the side quietly, bring their iPad or something, and then excuse yourself for 10 minutes to go bring them upstairs and drop them off. That'd probably be what I would do. It's the best idea I've got, because that's Adventure Ocean is pretty inflexible with their opening times there. Rosa, thank you for the super chat. Is it possible to book the Chef's Table with a dining package discount in advance, or do we have to wait till we get on board? I think it's only on board, Rosa, because there is a discount available for you. But you're worried about selling out. That's fair. I mean, I was about to say I don't think it'll sell out. I think it's, unless you want like a large group. Like if you want like 1 or 2 spots, it probably won't. Here's what you should do, Rosa. Never mind, I got a better idea for you. If you are worried about it selling out, I totally get that. Book it in app, book it on the website, pay full price. When you get on board the ship, go to guest services and have them adjust it from that point. That would be my recommendation. They're probably going to give you onboard credit as the difference, as long as you're okay with that. But that would be probably your best bet. Happily Hungry, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! I mistakenly got a 1:30 check-in for Wonder of the Seas. Any recommendations of what to do between 11 a.m. hotel checkout and check-in for husband and 3 kids, 5, 10, and 12? Ooh. How early can we drive into Port Canaveral to park? You go in as early as you want to park. They don't care what time you're there. So as an example, here's what I would do. You're Port Canaveral. I would do this. You got a couple options. I mean, you could go you could go shopping. That's usually a good, like, especially since you have your own car. You could go to CoCo Beach. There's some shops and restaurants. Go have lunch is really the answer. I think that would burn the most amount of time. There are actually, if you park the car at the port, right next door, there's a couple of different restaurants you can literally walk to very easily. Grills, Fish Lips, Rising Tide, appropriately enough named that. No connection to Royal Caribbean. Anyway, very easy to walk there, and you can get some good food, and that'll waste anywhere between half an hour to an hour, depending on how long you take to eat and how many drinks you have and things like that. But I might recommend for you instead to, do some shopping, whether you're going to CoCo Beach. You can go to Orlando and do some shopping at the outlets and then come on back. You could, there's not enough time for Kennedy Space Center. But yeah, I think have lunch is probably my best recommendation, and then do some shopping. Get the kids ice cream, things like that. Slew Dog, is the messaging on the Royal Caribbean app free now? Yes. William Ryman, thank you again, dude. Another super chat. Another question on the app. The app says the stand-up show is booked. Very disappointing. Does space usually open up for this? Yes. No problem at all, William. When things are sold out, don't worry too much about it. There's always a standby line. Almost everybody gets in the standby line. So just get in the standby line 20 minutes or so before showtime. I think you'll have a very good chance of getting in. Carrie B, thank you for the super chat. What is your plan for jet lag for your Norway cruise? Yeah, I don't have a good plan. I've heard somebody emailed me and was like, well, a day, 3 days before your cruise, you should go to sleep an hour early. Then 2 days before your cruise, 2 hours early. And then a day before your cruise, 3 hours early. That's a great strategy, except my flight is at 10:55 p.m. Eastern. So that would be well after the time I'm supposed to go to sleep, based on that little plan there. Honestly, Carrie, I got nothing other than sucking it up. I'm going to try when I get on the plane to change my time, my clock now to local time, and try to do my best to sleep. I mean, I think it is what it is, and I will suck it up. I don't have a better answer than that. I wish there was. If anyone has any good suggestions on how to do that, I would love to know the answer. But I've not seen anything that's really, really good idea. Point Narf, thank you again for the super chat. 6 days till Oasis ship is coming in from Florida with 0 passengers. Maybe Fort Lauderdale. Yes. Any chance rooms will be ready extra early? Yes, almost certainly that has been. I can't promise you that, but in my experience, that has usually been the case, which is really nice. Enjoy it. Let's see here. Ooh, we got some breaking information from Travel with Tanya, who says their BPM confirmed that Mason Jar will not be on Icon. Okay, well, there you go. Well, if it ends up being true, then we'll pat you on the back for that one. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Rock the Red, thank you for the super chat. Harmony on May 12th. Thanks for making these videos. You are very welcome. You are very welcome. Thank you for being here. Randy Ruddle is here. Welcome. Lori says, maybe you could do a video on options for getting to a cruise. Pros and cons to driving, flying, train, bus. It's not a bad idea. Jenna, if you're watching this, I think this is a good idea. We should put this in the queue. Yeah, JC, I talked about dining reviews earlier. It was the first question in the video. We talked about that thing. Online reviews of dining. It doesn't matter if it's for me, your mom, anybody in this chat. I mean, food is extremely subjective. And it's just it's hard to. I tell people all the time, just ignore online reviews of food. I try not to do my own. I mean, sometimes I do, especially when there are new restaurants, and I don't. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's like I try to practice what I preach and not be, I'm just saying that I don't generally go into that thing because it's so subjective. Fireman 12, do you need a thank you for the super chat. Do you need a reservation, or can we walk up to specialty dining if we decide that night we don't have the dining package? You can do both. Keep in mind they may be sold out. That's the only risk you have there. But if they're not sold out, absolutely, yes, they'll take you right on the spot. No problem at all. Let's see here. Hey, Mike just became a Diamond member. Congratulations, Mike. Michael Todd, thank you for the super chat. Ooh, thank you for the epic super chat. No question, just got off Wonder of the Seas yesterday. Our first cruise was amazing. Main dining room food was incredible. JC, main dining room food was incredible. I'm just pointing out that it's very subjective. Megan's Bay St. Thomas was beautiful. Thank you and your team for all the information and tips. You are very welcome. I'm so glad you had an amazing time on Wonder, and I really do love St. Thomas. It's because I get to go to St. John, but it's really beautiful out there. So yeah. Blake Evans, what's going on? Thank you for the super chat. What is the best cruise port to leave from for first-time cruiser? There isn't one I wouldn't recommend. If you're a first-time cruiser, forget the port. Although, okay, well, that's a fair point. I was going to say forget the port. Okay. If you can drive to a port because you live near it within driving distance, there's a good rationale to take a cruise from there, because being able to drive to your cruise port is really nice. I freely admit that. I wouldn't let that be your overarching goal. But if you live in Omaha, okay, well, that doesn't matter. There's no port near you. So I really, for first-time cruisers, I recommend an Oasis or a Quantum class ship, because they generally offer the latest and greatest. And as a new cruiser, you're not exactly sure what you want, what you like. It's a good catch-all to ensure that you have probably a good experience overall, and then you can kind of narrow down and focus on the type of cruising that you enjoy. But obviously, if you live in New York, as an example, I would lean heavily towards a cruise out of Bayonne, because it's in your backyard and you can drive to it. So by the same token, if you live in the Mid-Atlantic region, I wouldn't. It's nice to be able to go out, drive to your cruise, but I'd be the first one to admit that a Vision class ship that sails out of Baltimore is not necessarily the best ship for a first-time cruiser. So there, in that situation, it would be better to fly, but it kind of depends on where you live, Blake, and a couple things. So I don't necessarily look specifically at the ports. It's more about the ship choice for first-time cruiser. Von Tell, thank you for the super chat. I booked my parents their first cruise on Independence of the Seas. Awesome. They did the birth certificate and ID. Should they be worried about the passport? No, if they have a passport, they should use their passport, obviously. But if they're sailing, if they don't have one, they can absolutely, and they're Americans and they're sailing out of on a closed loop sailing Vontel, so a cruise that begins and ends in the U.S., then they'll have no problem using their birth certificate and ID. But next, if they don't have a passport, your next job, you got them a cruise. That's awesome. Now get them to go make an appointment to get a passport because it makes it so much better and easier. Jason, thank you for the super chat. We'll be in a Crown Loft suite for the first time on Allure this season. What are your recommendations to take full advantage of the suite perks? Ooh, make friends with the concierge. I mean, just go to the concierge. Now, well, number one, if you have a dining package, Jason, when you get the email from the concierge about a week before the cruise, email them back and ask them to make dining reservations for you. When you get on board the ship, with your dining package, of course, when you get on board the ship, introduce yourself to the concierge, get to know them, hang out in the suite lounge. The suite lounge is going to be your friend. It's going to be your home away from home, because your cabin is your home away from home. Spend some time in there and take advantage of the reserved seating for shows that the concierge has. And the best perk is priority disembarkation, Jason. So when the cruise is over, make sure you set up with the concierge ahead of time that they can walk you off the ship. You'll feel like a celebrity when they do that. It's amazing. Chuck wants to know, can you recap the junior suite perks? In a nutshell, double crown and anchor points, a full-size bathtub, upgraded toiletries in the bathroom, obviously a bigger room, full-size closet, and if you're on an Oasis or Quantum class ship, you will have dinner only in Coastal Kitchen. I think I got all of them right there. Blessed, thank you for the super chat. We're going on Freedom of the Seas May 15th. I was wondering if we have the Wi-Fi package, will we be able to call home through Facebook Messenger? Yeah, I mean, internet, as long as the internet behaves and works, yes, that usually works pretty darn well. Also, if we're able to tether in the same room. You're not supposed to, Blessed. The rule is if you buy like a one device package, it's one device at a time. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use it and then sign out and let your friend or whomever you're sharing the room with then use their device and keep going back and forth. Totally fine. But yeah. Ariana, thank you for the super chat. I have the ability to go on Wonder and then either do a back-to-back on Wonder or stay a night near the port and then go on Mariner. What would you suggest? Ooh, I've been on either. Would be me and my 7-year-old. Do both. Then I would do the side-to-side, the Wonder and then Mariner. Mix it up a little bit. I think it would be a good opportunity for you. I mean, back-to-backs are really nice. And it's a heck of a lot easier. And if it was my wife, she would definitely do the back-to-back because she likes the Oasis class better. But Mariner is not a slouch either. And I'm going to bet it's going to be cheaper. I mean, personally, I would do both, like Wonder then Mariner. But a back-to-back is certainly easier to work with. So, Greg, thanks for the heads up on the sale tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, with the sales at this point, I just periodically check, but it's always a good reason, good impetus, I should say, to check back again. Absolutely. Dina wants to know a question. Do you ever buy the key? Yes, I bought it a couple times. I don't like it. I don't think it's worth it. Quite simply, I think it sounds better. The perks sound better than it really is. William wants to know, are you going to be on the Icon Group cruise? Yeah, of course. Wait, is that an option? Do I not have to go on group cruises anymore? Yes, I'll be there. I'll 100% be there. Of course I'll be there. Very much looking forward to meeting you as well, my friend. Megan wants to know, how do you tell Royal Caribbean I want a table in the main dining room with a specific other couple? So in that situation, you want to link your reservations together, Megan. So you have to link your reservations to the couple, and they have to link their reservations to you. You both need to do it. Your travel agent can do that for you. If you don't have a travel agent, you have to call Royal Caribbean, and they have to do the same thing. Let's see here. What debt is Royal Caribbean dealing with? The billions dollars of debts they accrued during the industry shutdown between 2020 and 2022. They've accrued, I don't know how many. It's certainly more than one. I want to say like 5 or 6, maybe more $1 billion in debt. So yeah. Stephanie, can the 16-year-old go to the gym without? Yeah, actually, 16-year-old is the minimum age. So yes, absolutely, 100%. Tony Diaz. Tony, thank you for the super chat. 3 days to Liberty of the Sea. Shout out to Tina. Is this the right person this time? Big fan of yours. I messed up her name last week. # too many painkillers. Thank you, Tony. And hello to Tina, who now we got your name right. Next question is from Matthew Summers. Thank you for the super chat. Can you take cigarettes you buy on the cruise, or do they take them till the end of the cruise? No, you can definitely bring your own cigarettes on board. No problem at all. They will not confiscate that. Let's see here. Holly wants to know what ships have the freestyle machines. There are a number of them. You know what, Holly? I'm feeling nice. I'll look it up. There's a list I have on RoyalCaribbeanblog.com. And I recently went through this thing, quite frankly, myself. So the answer is, you ready for this one, Holly? You have to pause the video, but I'm gonna rattle through them. Adventure, Allure, Anthem, Enchantment, Explorer, Freedom, Grandeur, Harmony, Independence, Jewel, Mariner, Navigator, Oasis, Odyssey, Quantum, Ovation, Rhapsody, Symphony, and Wonder. Spectrum's not on the list, but now I'm thinking Spectrum should be on that list. I'm not sure though. Anyway, that's the list I've got. Actually, no, I know for a fact that list is correct because I just updated it. So that was the list. Adventure, Allure, Anthem, Enchantment, Explorer, Freedom, Grandeur, Harmony, Independence, Jewel, Mariner, Navigator, Oasis, Odyssey, Quantum, Ovation, Rhapsody, Symphony, and Wonder. And if you're wondering, will they add it to other ships? I don't know. There's no schedule for it, so don't expect it. Omid, thank you for the super chat, my friend. What is your go-to for St. Thomas? Go to St. John. I love St. If you've never been, you should go to Magen's Bay. It's really nice, but I look for any tour that brings me to St. John. There's really no good day passes there. It's part of the U.S., and in the U.S., you don't get too many day passes like you do in other countries. So, but St. John, it's better than a day pass. Even you got to bring your own beer. Totally worth it. Next question is from Gregory King. Gregory, I believe this is another super chat from you. Thank you, Gregory. What is a good thing to do when you're in Nassau, or nausea in this case? Day pass. So in this case, resortforaday.com. There's a number of resorts available for Nassau. That's where I go if I was going to go to Nassau. Not nausea, though. Alan, is there no longer lobster tail for free in the main dining room? No, it's still there. It's on day 2. If your cruise has a second formal night, then on the second formal night, there will be lobster, 1 lobster tail per person, complimentary, no additional cost. Any additional lobster tails do cost extra. Stephanie wants to know, does Royal Caribbean go to Aruba? Yes, they do. Not every cruise, obviously, but there are a number of Southern Caribbean cruises that do go to Aruba. Yes. Andy Wilson, I'm so far behind in the chat, guys. I'm trying my best, but thank you so much for the generosity and the wonderful questions tonight. Disembarking in Miami, heading to Key West for the car rental, go local or airport. Ideally, pick up at the cruise port and then return to the airport. That plan is exactly what you should do. There are car pickups near the cruise port. You'll find better. You generally, I think, find better pricing at the airport, but you just want to get up and go. So for Miami, there are the closest ones will be downtown, and they almost all of them have shuttles. I've done this myself, in fact. But call the local branch. Be like, hey, do you guys have a shuttle? Okay, cool. Double check that. If they do, that's the way to go about it. And then just return to wherever in Key West you're doing it there. So, yep. Smoky Bandit says, hey, what's up, Tom? Flying east is a lot easier on the jet lag. Just keep yourself occupied the entire time once you land. Yeah, as in don't take a nap immediately. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That's good. So you're saying on the way back, it's John McClane from Die Hard says, make fists with your toes for jet lag. Is that a joke? Is that really a thing? I missed that part in Die Hard. Oh goodness. Spiff wants to know, if I'm walking in with my luggage, can I just park it outside my stateroom until it's ready? No, you cannot. You cannot. You got to wait for the rims to be ready on that one. The doors to the hallways leading to your room are closed, which is why you can't do that. Let's see here. Travel the Caribbean on board Wonder of the Seas. Nice. Thank you for joining us here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rock the Red, thank you for the super chat. Does the deluxe drink package work in the casino? Yes, it does. Absolutely. Wes Nile, thank you for the super chat. Going on Liberty of the Seas, May 18th in Bermuda. Not sure I'm going to get my passport in time. Are there any issues with using your driver's license and birth certificate? No, as long as you are a U.S. citizen and your cruise is a closed loop sailing, begins in the U.S., ends in the U.S., which I believe it is. So yeah, no problem at all. I'm just surprised, Wes. Well, maybe it was just a renewal then. Because sometimes when you do the passport application, you just send in your birth certificate. As long as it's the original one with a raised seal, you're good to go. Dennis wants to know a question. Going out of Port Everglades on May 4th, are there certain check-in lines according to your check-in time, or can we just show up a little bit early? Yeah, they'll separate you by times. It depends on the port. I mean, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But theoretically, when you get there, they'll be, all right, what time is your time, Dennis? All right, you're in this line over here. I've seen it both ways at the port. These days, there is just enough ambiguity that I still recommend getting there on your check-in time or right around within 15 minutes of your check-in time, because if not, there you could be possibly standing outside waiting. So there's enough of that. Carrie, will episode 500 of the Royal Caribbean Blog podcast be released while on Norway cruise or after you get back? You think I plan my podcast episodes more than a day ahead of time they're supposed to go out? That's funny, Carrie. That's funny. I have no earthly idea, my friend. I have no earthly idea. It's a good question. I have no earthly idea. I haven't even thought about it. Blake, thank you for the super chat. How hard is it to get Uber after getting off cruise? Extremely easy. I do it all the time. I just did it. I did Lyft, but same difference. In the US, really easy. I do it all the time. Mark says, I'm scared to be sick on my first cruise. If you're referring to seasickness, that's a lot of first timers have that concern, Mark. So you are Mark Andre, excuse me. You are not alone on that one. But there's a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, there's a good chance you're not going to get seasick. Okay. The motion in the ocean may not be such that you actually get seasick. So it's not like you get on board and it's like all of a sudden, you're going to feel it. A cruise ship is not like your buddy's fishing boat. You ever been on a fishing boat? I went on a fishing boat for the first time a number of years ago, and I was like, oh, on cruises, I'm good. I got seasick almost immediately because there's a lot more of the, back and forth. Anyway, cruise ships don't not move nearly like that. So that's number one. Number two, if you were to get seasick, let's talk worst case scenario. Very easily treatable. If I were you, Mark Andre, I would go and buy at your local pharmacy or on Amazon an over-the-counter medication called Bonine, Bonine. You take it once a day. Start taking it 24 hours before your cruise. Just take it once a day, regular time. You won't get seasick. And don't take it at all. Wait. If you do get seasick, pop them. They work pretty quickly, and then you'll start feeling a lot better very quickly there. Susan Westfall. Susan, thank you for the super chat. How can I find one of your prior blogs? I think you did a video tour of the Allure that I'd like to watch again. So Susan, if you go to our channel here on YouTube, like go to the main channel listing, there is a search function there. I'm not sure if you're on your phone or not, but it is there. There is a search function within YouTube for the video, or just go to YouTube and just search Royal Caribbean Blog Allure of the Seas Tour, and you will find that video. That was really easy to find because Royal Caribbean Blog Allure of the Seas Tour, no doubt my video will pop up first over there. So yeah, hope that makes sense. Shalish, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, but I am looking for it. I'll keep an eye out for that for you, but thank you for the super chat. Maybe it was just a nice, generous super chat. Jess, cruise planning is harder than Disney planning. Man, where does one start? Oh, I disagree on that. Have you been to Disney World lately? Geez, that's like you have to plan every minute of your day at this point with Genie Plus. Anyway, I digress. Where does one start? It's a great question, Jess. I actually wrote an article about this, about planning, and hold on, I'm going to find that article for you, Jess, because I think it's going to be really helpful for you. I want to help you out here. I wrote it like earlier this year. There you go. All right, I found it. So planning a cruise, what you need to get started. So I'm going to post it in the chat, Jess. So keep an eye out for it. This article, I feel, is going to be very helpful for you because it is exactly what you're asking, what you need to know to get started, what to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You booked a cruise or you're about to book a cruise. There you go. So Modern Myths wants to know, who's the guy that Matt likes to slap? Someone donates the big amount. To be fair, to be clear, I don't say I do slap him. I said I would feel so excited. I would feel like slapping, but I won't do that because I would be mean. But it's Tony Diaz. Tony Diaz. And now my chat just broke. Hold on a second. I lost where I was there. I'm working on it. Working my way back to you, babe. I just found it. Blessed. Thank you for the super chat. Do we need to take our passports so we get off the ship in the Caribbean in case something, God forbid, we would miss the ship? I do all the time. People disagree with me, but I do exactly that for that exact reason. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. 3 days to Liberty of the Seas. It's been a pleasure watching your videos. How did you get involved with Royal Caribbean Blog? Basically, I was going on a cruise. Andrew, thank you for your generosity. I was going on Oasis of the Seas. I was really excited for my cruise back in 2010. And I decided I wanted to start a blog about Royal Caribbean. I just wanted to share my excitement about the cruise, and it kind of organically grew from there. It wasn't like I didn't have my goal to be like what we see today here as what I wanted to do back then. It just was a opportunity to share my excitement for cruising, and it kind of just grew and morphed and evolved from there. And now it's incredible. And I thank each and every one of you guys for being here and reading the site and watching these videos. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Aaron Ross, thank you for the super chat. 10 days to elevation. Have you dined at Solarium Bistro? Yes. And if so, your thoughts. It's a great alternative, great choice. I like mixing it up, Aaron, especially I cruise a lot, so it's very easy to fall into routines and eat the same things. And I like the fact that Solarium Bistro is a little different. It's casual, but sit down, but fast still. It's just, I like it for different. So I think you absolutely check it out. In fact, Solarium Bistro is a hidden gem for breakfast. One of my favorite places to go for breakfast because it gets very uncrowded. You can still get omelets over there. So yeah, wonderful. Reva just got off Liberty of the Seas, had an amazing time. Nice. Fantastic. Eric wants to know, can you change the person that you were booked with? I think you mean wait, do you mean the like I'm booked with Bob and now I want to cruise with Cindy? Is that like that's the question? You can do a name change up to 48 hours before your cruise. Patrick, if you order 2 entrees, you receive the second after you finish the first. Yes. They're very quick about it. They watch you on that one. So Andy wants to know, hello, what is a good cruise agent to use for the Royal Caribbean Navigator of the Seas? MEI Travel. MEI Travel. Just go to MEI Travel. Go to RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. It's a big yellow form. Fill that out. They will contact you. Flying east always kicks my butt, but on transatlantic flights, I think by early afternoon I'm done and call it a day. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody deals well with it, but I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that I know it won't. I'll just be, it's like Tom said earlier. I've just got to, when I get there, I got to stay up until at least like 7 or 8 o'clock and then like pass out, not take a nap. Mr. Mania, thank you for the super chat. Hopes and prayers for smaller ships on the next round of new ships. Smaller ships are better, much more intimate. I'm be real with you. It ain't happening. But I certainly wouldn't mind seeing them, but I don't see it happening. It's just the economy of scale compounded with the fact, basically, which by the way, economy of scale means Royal Caribbean will always make more money with a big ship than a smaller ship. And number 2, because they're also sitting on a mountain of debt right now, as we talked about earlier, they got to make money back. They can't be cute about not making as much money. It'll kill them on the stock market. So I think those reasons it's not going to happen. But hey, listen, I've been wrong about lots of things in the past, everybody. 2-wheeled a rocket leaving on Liberty of the Seas out of Fort Lauderdale, January 19th. Never been on that ship. Any pros and cons of the ship? They've got Saturday Night Fever, the Broadway musical, which is great, and it's free. Check it out over there. The cons of the ship is that basically it has not received the updates that Freedom and Independence of the Seas received. They're both the same class of ships, but it's still a great ship. It's a fun time. You'll have a great time on there, 2-wheeled rocket. Don't worry too much about it. Stephanie Kelly, thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you. I don't see a message from you, but thank you. Alexandra says, my passport shows my maiden name, and I will not have time to update it prior to my cruise next month. Is that okay? Just bring your marriage certificate, Alexandra. We've had this question before. Just bring your marriage certificate that proves that you are Alexandra whatever, and you're no longer Alexandra something. You'll be fine in that situation. Just so you can prove that the name is accurate. Bring your marriage certificate. Wes Niles. Wes, thank you for the super chat, my friend. What's the best secluded beach in Bermuda? It's not secluded. The best beach by far is Horseshoe Bay. Secluded, I am not sure on. I don't have a good answer for that one. I don't know if Chantel, who's in our chat, Chantel is my resident Bermuda expert. I don't know if Chantel has an answer for you. But I only know Horseshoe Bay, and it's very popular and very well known, so it's definitely not secluded, but it is really nice. It's the pink sand beach Bermuda that is absolutely fantastic. Susan Westfall. Susan, thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it again. My goodness, that's amazing. Palm Tree wants to have ever sailed on Adventure of the Seas. Yes, I sailed on Adventure twice when cruises first restarted in 2021, and It's great. I love the Voyager class. I really like it quite a bit. And the best part of Adventure of the Seas, I'm sure you've noticed, the pricing is really good because it doesn't have as many bells and whistles as other ships out there, but it's still a great ship. It's still a big ship feel, fun ship to enjoy. I like it quite a bit. Jerry, what's the name of the travel agency I use? MEI Travel. Alex, do I need to worry about September cruise due to hurricane season? Worry? No. Is it a possibility it can impact your cruise? Yeah. But I cruise every year, Alex, in September. And it doesn't stop me. I mean, occasionally we've had to change itineraries, but it's not likely to impact you. So take advantage of the lower pricing. Yeah, but do it. I mean, you gotta be okay, Alex, though, with the possibility of your cruise being, rerouted. But as long as you're okay with that, you shouldn't worry at all. It's great. Let's see here. Next question. Why is it always Bob and Cindy? Because I'm an old guy and these are the fake names like Joe and Bob. I'm not very creative with my fake names. But yes, you're correct. It's always the same fake names. Alex wants to know, what can't a 16-year-old do minus the drinking? I don't believe a 16-year-old, I'm not sure on this. I don't think a 16-year-old can get off the ship by themselves in a port. I think that you need to be at least 18 for that. We talked about this earlier. I don't know if a 16-year-old can go to a specialty restaurant by themselves. But not much. I mean, you kind of basically nailed it right there. They're just an older they're a minor still. That's basically what it boils down to. I think the biggest thing that a 16-year-old can do that kids that are younger can't do, 16-year-olds and up can go to the solarium, as in hang out in the solarium. They can also go to the gym. Those are two things that jump out as things they can do. What is the best thing about Odyssey of the Seas? Oh, by far, playmakers in the Seaplex, I think, is such a genius move. Perfect venue for it. Really love that. And then of course I'll give you more than one MK. In addition to that, the lime and coconut, the pool setup, it's a really pretty pool. The fact that there is no longer an indoor general use pool. There's still a solarium, don't worry, but there used to be this other main pool that was indoors. They got rid of that. The flow is a lot better. I think that was a nice change for that. EJ wants to know, how does Royal Caribbean compare or compete with Royal? Well, if you make a competition, I mean, they're both mass market cruise lines, so they offer, their market is very much the same there. We're actually working on an article, EJ. Allie, who's one of our writers here at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, she is our resident Carnival cruise expert, despite her objections otherwise. And she's actually writing an article about how they compare between the two of them. So that'll be coming up on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll do a video about that as well, because I think we know that's a very popular topic, as to compare the lines. There's pros and cons to both. So, Aaron, I missed your super chat. I apologize. North Star Innovation sold out for C days. Best way to get on standby. Ooh, couple things, Aaron. When you get on board the ship, no matter what, as soon as you get on board, go to the North Star and go talk to the staff. And say, hey, is there any availability, any last minute reservations? The other thing to do is go there and wait for no shows. That happens more often than you think, especially because it's free, the reservations. So people all the time no show it. And I would really go for either the early morning ones or the ones right around dinner time, because people book them and they realize I ain't waking up that early, or I got things to do, I got to get to dinner. So they no show for that, as opposed to 12 o'clock noon, right? Anybody can make that one, but that'd be something else that you could do right there. Dave wants to know, can you eat more than one entree, especially dining, including lobster? Yes. The only restaurant that I'm aware of, especially restaurant, that has a restriction on the amount of entrees you can order is Chops, but it's still unlimited, appetizers and sides. But any other specialty restaurant, Jamie's, all that, totally fine right there. Greg said, we talked about this earlier, but I'll bring it up again. Why does Royal Caribbean keep overbooking cruises? Makes me want to book on them, even though I have a cruise credit. Tell me I'm wrong. You're wrong, because it's not a widespread problem. Here's the reality. I'm going to guess that you've seen this reported on certain websites or even YouTube channels, right? I'm not here telling you that it's not happening, but it's a very, 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 very low amount. A couple things to keep in mind. Number one, even when it does occur, there's so many people that volunteer for them that nobody's being forced off. Not one person has been kicked off a cruise involuntarily because it's been oversold. Does it happen? Sure. Unfortunately, sometimes it's mistakes on Royal Caribbean. I'm not excusing it, but it's not widespread. It's just, we live in this internet age. Of course, everybody posts everything on Facebook and social media, which is great. I enjoy it. I'm a social media person, so I greatly benefit from this. But I feel like it's been blown out of proportion, given that it's been reported on various websites and YouTube channels. There, it's not a big deal. It's so unlikely to occur to your sailing. And on top of that, I've been on cruises, by the way, Greg. I was on Wonder of the Seas, which this occurred on. And I think somebody tried calling because they wanted to get the offer, and they were like, no, we already got all the volunteers. So it's not a big deal because it's so unlikely to occur. And even when it does occur, there's some people that volunteer, they haven't kicked anybody off yet. So I hope it doesn't happen anymore, obviously. I think Royal Caribbean doesn't want it to happen anymore, but it's been blown out of proportion. It's the best way I can describe it. That's good. And we talked about this earlier, but I think it's worth bringing up again. Ed, thank you again for the super chat, my friend. You mentioned on one of your older shows that there were Mayan ruins in Roatan. I did not write down what they're called. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on. There's Mayan Princess. That's not Mayan ruins. That's a resort. That's the only thing I can think of. Because the Mayan ruins, there may be Mayan ruins in Roatan. I'm not familiar if there are. The ones that I'm aware of are all in Mexico. But I think maybe you're thinking of Mayan Princess, which is a semi all-inclusive resort you can go to. Hal, you are very welcome. Thank you for the kind words. I'm so glad to hear you had an awesome, awesome time. We have time for a couple more questions, guys. We're going to head on out of here. Mr. Mike, give me a hug, Newell. Ever considered hosting a Monsters of Rock cruise? If you were on there, I think my wife would say, yeah, you can go with Mike Newell. It's totally cool. But no, I'm not. It's actually a charter cruise. But would I host my own with, just me and Ozzy Osbourne hanging out together? Yeah, of course, Def Leppard. Yeah, totally. Like, hey, Matt, what's your favorite album from Def Leppard? Actually, wait, Hysteria is an album, right? Okay, that's a bad example. What's your favorite Megadeth album? The first one. Actually, there's a really good chance that one of any hard rock, classic rock band probably has an album called the Black Album, but I digress on there. Got to know thyself. Hal Warren, Hal, thank you again for the super chat, my friend. You are very welcome. Let's see here. Do you want me to get on Icon of the Seas? What do you recommend? I saw your video on the new ship. Do I want you to get on there? I think it looks cool. Sure, go for it. But I don't know what to recommend yet because it's still too early in the process to know exactly what to expect there in totality. We answered this question already, Dave, but thank you for the question. Chuck, come for your daughter, Chuck. Thank you for the super chat. That's for you, Mike. Chuck's question is 509 days till Rhapsody from Puerto Rico to Southern Caribbean. Lots of excursions available, but none to St. John from St. Thomas. Do you think more will be added? Possible, but unlikely. If I were you, and I did this last time I was in St. Thomas, look for a third-party shore excursion option to get you to St. John. There's a number of tours that are available you can book, not through Royal Caribbean. That's what I did last time because I wanted to go there. So. Let's see here. Best way to take kids on that may be a cheaper option. Older ships, Jess. Go on Mariner of the Seas as an example. I pick Mariner or Adventure or Liberty of the Seas instead of Wonder or Odyssey of the Seas. They're almost always going to be cheaper. Kids sail free deals if you can put them in the same cabin as you. The 15-year-old will not qualify for it, but the 7 and 10-year-old will. Something to keep in mind right there. What to do if all the activities at CoCo Cay are booked out? Don't book any. You don't need one. CoCo Cay, you can walk off the ship. There are beaches and pools available to you with chairs and umbrellas, no additional cost, nothing to book ahead of time. You don't need to book something in order to have a great time over there. In fact, you really, really don't. So don't worry too much about it. Grace, thank you for the super chat. What are the best things to do in Costa Maya, and do you recommend taking antibiotics and Rotan because of the risk of malaria? Definitely not to the second one. I'm not a doctor, so please keep that in mind. I don't offer medical advice, but I certainly have never, ever, ever taken malaria medicine. And I've certainly never, ever, ever thought about taking malaria medicine just because I'm going to Roatan. In terms of Costa Maya, my two favorite places are Maya Chan and Jamie's at Blue Reef. Both are all-inclusive beach resorts. I like Maya Chan the most, but Jamie's at Blue Reef is fantastic as well. So, yeah, Modern Myth, dude, you guys, I mean, this community, can we take a minute? I know we're over our hour. I hope nobody minds except my wife. that would take a couple minutes. I mean, you guys are just, it is incredible how generous and supportive and helpful you all are in the chat. I mean, I see, I know that the chat's busy, but so many of you are helping each other out, answering questions, and then of course the super chats are just incredible. Never, expected, always appreciated, but my goodness, you guys are just phenomenal, and it is not lost on me, and I am deeply grateful for this amazing community that we have. You guys are amazing. Thank you. 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 Any tips for a going to Alaska? Any tips for a cold weather cruise? Layers, my friend. You may have heard this already. Many times we've talked about cruising to Alaska, but pack layers. Basically, when you walk off the ship, you should be wearing like a t-shirt on your base layer, a warm layer. I usually wear like either a fleece jacket or even just a sweater, like a hoodie, and then a waterproof layer on top of that. Bring a backpack, and then you can take them off, put them back on, depending on what the weather's like. That's the best case right there. And a good hat. Good hat is really important. But I'm not talking like a baseball hat, but like a knit hat. That's really good right there. And I know that our good friend Sherry from Cruise Tips TV, another YouTube channel here, Cruise Tips TV, she has some really good recommendations for gear for Alaska. Daniel Miller, thank you for the super chat. Cruising on Mariner, this is going to Labadee. We have an early morning 8 a.m. zipline. Will Adventure Ocean be open? Oh, if you have a Royal Caribbean excursion, which that is, talk to them though. Not officially, if you show up there without saying anything, they'll be closed. But at least the day before, say, hey, I've got this excursion. I need to drop off my kids here. They will open specifically for you because it is a Royal Caribbean excursion. Amber's on Allure of the Seas right now. Nice. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Selling at a Port Canaveral and flying to Orlando the night before. Should I stay by Orlando Airport and Uber to the port the next day, or is there a better plan? I would do that. I mean, as long as you're, I don't know what time you're flying in, but if you're flying in the evening, or you're not looking to do anything crazy. There are more hotels in Orlando. They're going to be cheaper than staying near the port. That is a great strategy. And the only reason to go to the port, stay at a hotel near the port, is to be closer to the port. You don't have to worry about getting there because you're basically already there. And if you're coming in earlier and you want to do things around there, there's some, it's nice. You can go to the beach and, do some shopping and things of that nature. But if you're like, man, I'm just coming in, it's going to be like 7:00 when we land. I just want to have dinner, go to my hotel room and go to sleep. Then Orlando is the way to do it. No question about it. Let's see here. We have time for one or two more questions right there. Hey, Alexandra, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you. Toby wants to know, how safe are the beach days in Cozumel? Are taxi safe? Yes and yes. I've gone to Cozumel a bazillion times. I was just there, Toby, in Cozumel and Costa Maya, but Cozumel specifically 2 weeks ago. It's incredibly safe. Obviously, I can't promise you anything. I'm not, I can't foresee the future, but I can tell you that I feel certainly comfortable in and around Cozumel, taking taxis. Never give it a second moment's thought. It's about as safe as it can be, quite frankly. Is Oasis of the Seas a good ship? Absolutely, yes, 100%. And I think I've caught up on it. Oh, here we go. Well, this will be our last. Although I just see a super chat just came in, so we'll get there in a second. D baby, best way to book a room through a good travel agent. I use a travel agent. Everybody should use a good travel agent. It just makes your life easier. It makes your life easier. You're going to be able to get the best possible price and the service, not just booking the cabin. Anybody can book a cabin. That's not the issue. Anybody can go online and book one. The difference is not only can a good travel agent help you book the cruise and pick the room, but also they can be there along the way when you have questions and concerns and issues that come up. They're there for you. That's really the number one reason right there. So, Hal Warren, thank you for the epic super chat. Woo! Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. And I think that is going to wrap things up for you guys. Thank you so much for us. Actually, one last question from our good friend Alexandra. Are the age groupies on Kids Club strictly enforced? No. I mean, yes and no. By default, yes, but you can ask to have your kid move up or move down. It's up to the staff, though. It's up to how busy they are. A lot of other factors. The answer could be no, but you certainly could ask because on some occasions they do grant it. That is a speak and spell behind me. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Thank you all so much for joining us here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to our amazing super chatters this evening. Holy moly. I'm going to say thank you to all our super chatters. Hal, thank you. Alexandra, thank you. Chris, thank you. Daniel, thank you. Grace, thank you. Chuck, thank you. Hal, thank you again. Mike Newell, thank you. Ed, thank you. Susan, thank you. Wes, thank you. Stephanie, thank you. Mr. Mania, thank you. Aaron Ross, thank you. Andrew Osborne, thank you. Blessed, thank you. Shalish, thank you. Susan Westfall, thank you. Blake, thank you. Wes, thank you. Rock the Red, thank you. Andy Wilson, thank you. Gregory, thank you. Omid, thank you. Matthew, thank you. Tony, thank you. Ariana, thank you. Blessed, thank you again. Jason H, thank you. Von Tell, thank you. Blake, thank you. Michael Todd, thank you. Fireman 12, thank you. Rock the Red, thank you again. Carrie B, thank you. William Ryman, thank you. Happily Hungry, thank you. I love that name, by the way. Rosa, thank you. William Ryman, thank you again. Brett Brown, thank you. Gregory, thank you again. Brian Richards, thank you. Ron Ladowski, thank you. Lance, thank you. Yeep, thank you. David, thank you. Michael O'Brien, thank you. New and Old Funko, thank you. Adam, thank you. Gregory, again, thank you. Jose, thank you. Silveris, thank you. Jessica, thank you. Heather, thank you. Dawn, thank you. Mike, thank you. James, thank you. David, thank you. Robert, thank you. Chris, thank you again. Doug, thank you. Ann, thank you. Point Narf, thank you. Ian, thank you. Austin, thank you. Holy moly. Ed, thank you so much. KL, thank you. And Desiree, thank you all so much. Really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Really, truly, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with me here today. Programming note. Actually, I could do it tomorrow. So next week I'm traveling. I will be in the airport I'll be in New York waiting for my flight to go to Europe, but I certainly could do this live broadcast in the daytime on Monday. So let's plan on doing this live broadcast next Monday, but not at our usual time. It'll be in the afternoon. I am not sure. After lunch, probably around 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern time is my guess, but that'll be our plan because I'll need a distraction from my inevitable. I took a flight and I have to take another flight. I will be extremely nervous, so this will be mutually beneficial. Anyway, look for the notification here on our channel for that. On that note, thank you all so much for joining us here. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun, and we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.